Well, this is the fourth in our series of player interviews, and today we bring you Peter Withers, who was a major part of our 1992-93 championship winning team. Peter currently in New Zealand, so welcome, Peter.
Oh, thank you, guys. It's a pleasure at the crack of dawn in New Zealand.
Well, it's great to see you, and we do thank you for joining us. Now, the first thing I'm going to ask you, and we haven't rehearsed any of this, anybody, so if he doesn't know the answers, we'll cut it out. But you might have to explain to some of our younger viewers how you got the name Googie.
Googie, it kind of got stuck when I played for Runcorn. I think I turned up and it was a lad called Peter Densmore, and it was an old 1950s actress, right. black and white movies and stuff. That just had the same surname, so it was Googie, and it stuck. And so it then went on to the supporters and stuff like that. So, and I do remember there was one end of the season thing where, remember the song Ice Ice.
Yeah.
Baby or whatever it was, and they used to chant this song Ice Ice Googie. It was horrendous. It was a horrendous chant, but it kind of stuck, and everyone, and it was easy to say, so it just stuck from then on. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, I think it was Googie Withers, a British drama in the 70s. I think was the thing everyone remembers. So
I think it was sort of within these walls or something.
Right, yeah.
That's it.
You passed your first test, you say.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Peter made over 100 appearances in our competition, scoring 45 goals since you joined us in August 1992. And that season was obviously quite memorable, Peter, for winning that championship. What can you remember about it?
Well, it was great because I came from Runcorn, so I'd played 3 years for them in the conference, which is good. It was a great standard, great grounds and stuff, and decent crowds. But it was Brian Kettle, because I'd played with Brian at South Liverpool, and he always kept in touch, sort of thing. He always wanted me to, because you always want to play for someone who rates you, and he rates me because I never actually he never told me what to do on a football field. He just said, "Go and do what you do," and as long as I did what I did, he was fine with this sort of thing. So you just want to play for someone who believes in you, and turned up. We had a few new signings. I remember pre-season, the very first time, me and Mark Schofield, we got our photograph taken for the visitor, is it? The Southport visitor. And then this guy walked out, and Brian Kettle, it was John Bishop, because he turned up at pre-season just to tell Brian Kettle, can't play this year. And he said, why? He said he's going to ride a bike around Australia. What a strange thing to do. Probably that's what he did, and I saw it on the telly a few months back, and he obviously revisited that sort of thing. So we turned up, and I thought Southport were losing players, but no, he recruited fairly well in '92 because everybody got on. It was great.
Yeah, there were some characters in that team, though, wasn't there, Peter, in that season? I'm sure you remember a lot of the players you used to play alongside. Any stories about some of the players?
Some of the players, well, we were captained by Kevin Mooney. I still keep in touch with Kevin now. He's a great friend, and he led fantastically because he's just committed to everything. It doesn't matter what he does in his life. He's committed, and he's still doing it now. So still keep talking to him. He plays for England and plays 4 times a week. But it's like everything that he does is work. And if you're a friend of Kevin's, it's a joy. Yeah, it's an absolute joy. So he led us on, and he kind of brought us along with him, sort of thing. So we had Morsey in goal. Yeah, all know Morsey. He's like he's mad as a hatter sometimes. But we didn't have anyone who, anyone to like spoil the party. And even if anyone was on the bench, it didn't cause any sort of ructions and things like that. And we didn't have a big squad. I think we only had we would have played about 14 players then. And it just lasted throughout. And once you get on a roll, everything's sweet. Everything's fine.
Is that what happened in that season? Did you feel we got on a roll, and there was no stopping us, really, was there?
Yeah, straight away. I think we lost the first game because we had 3 good centre halves. We had Mark Schofield, Derek Goulden, Kevin Mooney. We started off with 3 centre halves. Didn't work. Got beat against Emily. So we just basically, it was quite simple. Mark Schofield, you just go holding midfielder, bang, there we go. He protected our back two and just fired out to the Chris Walmsley, who just ran through people. He's a right winger who wasn't, he didn't quite, he wasn't, skipping in and out like right wingers do. He just barged straight through the lot of them. He was built like a brick privy. And he used to get to the byline and supply me and Chibs with loads of opportunities as well. We had Gambo just throwing things through on the left-hand side, who's an absolute legend of Southport. But just from the word go, we just dominated teams. It was a joy to behold. It was great.
Is there any particular game you remember from that season?
From that season, the one, because everyone talks about the day we won the league, because I got a hat trick against Emily, which was fantastic, and that was a great day out but when we kicked off, I saw like we had a lot of Southport supporters, and there was a guy in a gorilla suit.
That's right.
Goal, with a Southport scarf on, and I was just thinking to myself, when you get up in the morning to go to a game, you think, right, I've got my keys, I've got my wallet, I've got my scarf. Go and get me that gorilla suit. It's kind of what goes through. Who was that guy, sort of thing. So it was, and I was lucky enough to get a hat trick that day, and we celebrated.
Did you get to keep the ball?
It was fantastic.
The match ball. Did you get to keep it?
I did, but I think I give it to Kevin Mooney because I couldn't bring all my stuff with me to New Zealand. I think I did give it to Kevin Mooney but I have got another one. I've got one in the garage with I think it was a Frickley one when it was dead windy that day, and I think I was just scoring from corners because it was really windy. I was aiming at the halfway line; it was flying in the top corner. But the highlight I got was we played Liverpool reserves. I think it was just the Senior Cup, and they had a couple of first team players. Grobbelaar was in goal, so you're playing against your hero sort of thing. And it was, I'm just looking at that stand behind you, Dan. It's, I think we got into, it was extra time. And because a little lad called Robbie Fowler just equalised in the last minute. I think he was about 17. He hadn't had a kick
Whatever
all
happened
game.
to him, eh?
But yeah, he just volleyed one from the left hand. And I said, Jesus Christ, who the hell's he? Yeah, some little slip of a lad. So I was glad he did that because it took us into extra time. And I had my moment where on the edge, I think it was about the edge of the day, I just looked up and Grobbelaar was, you're supposed to stand centrally. He wasn't. He was kind of trying to get back in the first team, do his television saves. And I just stood there. I just lamped it in the top left-hand corner. And as soon as I left my foot, I knew it was going in. So I just turned, because I wasn't running onto it or nothing. I just turned to the stand. And it was a split second where I just watched, because it was packed, the stand. I just looked at it and it went like that. And I watched everyone rise to their feet right at the same moment. And it was like, wow. The hairs on the back of your neck stand up and stuff like that. But then a couple of days later, he got done for match fixing that, didn't he, Grobbelaar? So I'm thinking somebody's throwing him 20 quid behind the goal.
So Southport were involved in match fixing back in 1993, were you?
Yeah.
Is that your favourite goal that you scored from us then? Because you scored a fair few.
That's my favourite goal. That sticks out. And that Emily, the hat trick at Emily, because I think it was left foot and right foot sort of thing. So they're always good to do. Yeah. But I remember playing because it was always good playing Liverpool and Everton reserves because you're playing, lads you see on the television. And there was one, I think, Everton reserves. It might have been a year later. David Unsworth was marking me, and he's trying to get back into the first team, and he's desperate, and he's marking me. So they go 1-0 up, and then second half, someone gets the byline. I stab one in, so he's fuming because he's supposed to be marking me. And then it got into the last 10 minutes. It got knocked over, and I'm about 5 yards offside. Run through, stick in the back of the net. The linesman's got his flag down, so he's going berserk, David Unsworth. And so I just whispered in his ear, "See that linesman? He works in our place," because he used to work for Knowsley Council, this fella. And he said, it was John Green, I think his name was. I said, and he's a top member of Liverpool Supporters Club, and he doesn't half hate Everton. steam came out of his ears. He was running at the linesman. He reckons it was all a fix and this, that, and the other. But it was 5 yards offside, and we won 2-1.
Oh, good one. You said before we started this, you won't remember all these stories, but they're coming back to you well and truly, aren't they?
I know. There's loads of things. I remember Winsford was good because they were second in the league, weren't they? The season. And me and Mark Brennan, we weren't the best organised of people sometimes. And we got it. I think we were getting the coach at Burtonwood Services, and it was a 1 o'clock meet. And then so me and Mark we'd missed the coach. It's like, oh shit. But we've been dropped off. So we're standing at the services with no car, which is the top of the table, clashed around about Christmas. What do we do? It's like 1:30 and at 3 o'clock kickoff. So we eventually got in touch with Mark's brother, who came down from Knowsley Village, took us, and we was going to be so late, and it was 2:45 by the time we got to the ground. We couldn't, I don't think we could get it. We had to get through the turnstiles. And there was a bit of a queue. There was a few Southport people there, and they're looking at us going, "What are you two doing?" I said, "Can we get to the front of this queue so we can play?" and we got there, and Brian Kettle's face was just and we thought we'd be on the bench because it was 2:45. He said, "Get your kit on. You're starting." So I look in my bag and I go, "Shit, I forgot my shin pads as well." I don't know what I was doing. So I thought, should I say, "Hey Brian, have you got a spare pair of shin pads?"
I don't think you'd like that.
Nah, I think I left that. So I played the game without shin pads, and there was a couple of tackles going on. I'm thinking, oh Christ, I'm going to get my leg broken here. But it's the best preparation I ever had. I had a great game. Like from the word go, I thought, did I score? I don't know. But I think Steve O scored too. But we won the game. It was quite crucial. And I remember Mark, he got substituted. And you've obviously been to Winsford. And he walked off and he booted this thing. It was like a metal track going around the edge of the pitch. And then this groundsman came across because it was that track, he'd wrecked it. That, the hair goes around the greyhound track.
That's right.
There was a meeting on the Monday. And this groundsman was responsible for that. So they're having like a fight towards the change. And we won 2-1, so it was great. Yeah.
It was a big top of the table clash that at the time, wasn't it, as well? Yeah. Obviously, we got promoted that season, and you stayed with us for the following season, the first season that we ever played in the conference. What was that like?
It was great because the only difference between the HFS Loans League and the conference was just that little bit of quality. Say your ratio in that league was 1 in 5. When you got 5 chances, you score a goal. You just had to be a bit more clinical, and it was basically 1 in 3. So the general play wasn't a big difference. I just knew that in the last third, that's where it counts. It just boom, 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 boom. As soon as you step up a level, you've got to be able to do that. And because I'd seen it before, sort of thing. Some of the lads in our team were like, a bit of trepidation sort of thing. But I just said, no, we're fine with this because we didn't sign that many players.
No.
And we were up, I think we were top of the league around about March time. Yeah, I remember going through Kidderminster, and I remember going through 1-on-1 with the goalie and thinking that over the top of the keeper, but it went over the bar. It was like, it could have changed. They would have scored the bloody thing. But no, it didn't quite happen. And it kind of tailed off towards the end of the season. I think when we got Luther Blissett, didn't we?
Yeah.
That didn't quite work because he was the when we first signed him, his big red Ferrari thing or something was right outside the players' entrance. We had to because the crowds were really good then. We had to park about 3 streets away. So we weren't treated like second-class citizens. It's just that he was the star sort of thing, and he was about 36, and he wasn't really adding things to it. And I remember me and Leroy got injured against Leroy Dove. We got injured against Staley Bridge, so we'd come off. I'd been clattered, and I could hardly walk. Leroy's got he put some turban on his head because he had a big cut on his head. So we're like hobbling out the changing rooms, and Luther Blissett came off towards the end. I remember Charlie clapping. He's behind the stands and he's panicking. We're hobbling away like 2 bloody geriatrics. And the first thing he said to us, how's Luther? And we went, how's Luther? Go and ask him your bloody self. And it was, but the conference season was great because it was just like one ride that everyone was going through, and we were up there and doing really well. I remember at one stage because you open the Sunday papers and I'm thinking, I'm top of the goal scoring chart and we're top of the league. It was like, this is a bit weird. I think that was in November. But yeah, scored a few goals. Gamble scored because David Gamble had so much quality. He could easily make that step up. He could have made the step up to Football League. I don't know whether he had a few opportunities, but it was, they're good quality players. And because we all looked after each other, it worked as a team unit. So it was the difference in the conference was just better grounds, better pitches, and the fact that you've got more people watching. You used to get a buzz out of a couple of thousand people. It's better than one man and his dog because you just heard it was a noise. It was a buzz going on around the ground. Whereas when you first start, you're playing Gould against Gould Town to 300 people. It gets very personal because if go on with us, get off, or this, that, and the other, you can hear the direct sort of thing. So you'd much rather have that noise and that buzz. Yeah, it's good.
I think that game at Kidderminster, I think it was about 3,500 on that day, because that was a real top of the table clash, that one you mentioned at Kidderminster.
Yeah, and I think it was the centre half that scored 2 goals as well, which didn't help.
Yeah.
Me trying to track back at corners, never a good thing.
But you went on to leave us at the end of that season, didn't you, Peter? So what happened there?
There was just a couple of things towards the end of the season, sort of thing. Like I remember my wife had my son that year, and it was because it doesn't take much to just to get your angst or your backup sort of thing. Because I remember Tuesday night I missed the Kettering game because Andrew was born, and the club, fair enough, sent my flowers and this, that, and the other. But then you go next week and you get fined a week's wages for not playing on Tuesday night. And you're going, oh God! And it was just little things like that, and the fact that a group of lads, Kevin Mooney's in my ear because he was going to Chorley, Kevin, Mark Brennan, Chris Walmsley, and this, that, and the other. And looking back, it probably wasn't the best thing to do, go to Chorley, because I'd done my ankle ligament straight away, and I think the manager got sacked after a month or two. And it was, it just didn't work out. Looking back, I should have stayed at Southport. Yeah, because
something we've heard a few times.
Because the manager rated me, so you just stayed. Obviously, the Chorley manager thought I was all right, but I'd played on the field with Brian at South Liverpool. Because even when his knees were gone, he was playing right back. He used to just, that's what got me going and got a bit of a reputation going. He used to be able to ping a ball 50 yards straight over to the left wing. And I was just happy days. He used to be able to switch the play like that. And he used to put it on a sixpence for me. And I used to just run through and kick it in the goal.
And you're now in New Zealand?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Been here since 2006.
Yeah.
So it's a good 15 years now. Yeah.
What took you over there, Peter?
It was, you get to a certain age, it was 39, 40 sort of thing, and you think there's more things to life. And I remember Chris Pyle, he was at Southport. Mm-hmm. He was like reserve keeper for about half a dozen games and stuff. And I played cricket with him, and I was a friend with Chris, and he came over to England, and we just looked at it was just a window of opportunity. We still had the house for sale in the UK. We just thought, let's give it a go, and we did, and it's great for it. I was seeing the way things were going. The kids were about 12 and 11, and just to give them opportunities, and since they've been over here, they've just flown. It was great. Like my son's he got a full scholarship at New York University, so he. Playing football, he was the goalkeeper at St John's. Oh, I've got one of the shirts he's wrong. Yeah. St John's. He's acquired, shall we say? And my daughter's doing really well as well. So the opportunity for them too is, we haven't looked back really. It's great. It's such a lovely country.
we've been in and out of lockdowns over the past 12 months, as you know. I think your experience has been quite different, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was just because when it was last March, was it 3 months, 2 or 3 months? It was total lockdown. Don't let anyone in the country. Sort it out, and then we haven't had any major issues since. So it's I think the travel bubble has opened up to Australia. So we're going to go to Melbourne in about 2 months' time, as long as nothing else kicks off. Yeah, just stay with my son and watch a bit of football, play a bit of golf, and yeah, it hasn't affected us as much as over there. I think the main thing was we got it sorted out early.
Yeah,
sorted it out early, and it was. I don't think Boris sorted you lot out early.
No comment.
we'll keep off the politics. I think it's safest when you.
Yeah, let's go somewhere else.
So did you play football in New Zealand? Yeah,
I played. I'll still go down every now and then. A fantastic little football club called Tower FC, and
Tower.
The what? Sorry.
What was that? Tower.
Tower, TAWA.
Right.
And it was before I went to New Zealand, you just emailed, so for your little lads, have you got a junior team, this, that, and the other, and have you got any masters teams over 35 teams? So I went down there and I just went training, and apparently no one wanted to be a centre forward, so I go training, and it's like a mixture of teams, and the first team didn't have a centre forward, so I got roped into that, and I played for their first team for 4 years, running around with like 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. I just stood up front and kicked it in the goal. And I think we won the league. And we were going into this like the central region of New Zealand, and I called it quits because you don't want a 43-year-old fella standing up front for you, do you? But yeah, it was great times. And then you go into the Masters format, and we formed a team called the Tower Grizzlies that is still running now, but I give it up about 12 to 18 months ago because you just it's not fit enough anymore. But you find, but when you've probably played about 2,000 games of football, and it's not. I'm not tall, but I used to be able to win a header with centre out, and it's when you head you there all the time, because they always say in later life it'll affect you because of heading the football. It's not the football; it's the centre out's head that's crashing into the side of your head. That's the problem. So it's kind of play golf now and go down to the football club all the time. So
what's the situation career-wise? What are you doing for your career?
Work in the New Zealand Qualifications Authority, and our department's responsible for all the exams like O levels and A levels, the comparative thing here. So we basically run all the exams in the country, write them, mark them, get everything sorted. So that's. Yeah, it's good. I've been there basically since I went to New Zealand. Yeah, it's a good place to work. Yeah,
never had any thoughts about coming back over?
We did. We were thinking of going back over. Just for a visit in last year actually, but obviously it all kicked off, sort of thing. But yeah, when everything calms down, we'll get back over there, sort of thing. So it's.
Well, come and pay us a visit when you do.
Yeah, definitely, because you've got because you had your thing last year, didn't you? And I'm just looking at the photographs of all the old faces, sort of thing, and I presume everyone still gets on as if it was yesterday.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I think that squad of yours in that night, I think they're the closest squad we've ever had, aren't they, Dan? I think it's one of the amazing. They all stick together and they all know each other, and it really was a good squad.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it was great. It was just because obviously you're getting the old grey matter going, sort of thing, but you just remember all these things all the times, and the Blythe in the FA Cup gone there, and what a day that was, sort of thing. I just loved it. Even though somebody stole me bag in a chair, because you go into the bar afterwards and you're all celebrating and you all put your bags in one place. Loads of us lost our bloody football boots and bags because some of these Blythe people. Yeah, it had all my gear. So, and then it took us forever to get home. We were stuck in the snow. So this driver decided to not bother with the motorway. So we'll do these little back roads in the bloody Penrith, or God knows where we were. So it was that was a great night, and I think it's still on YouTube. I didn't realise how quick it was. It's still on YouTube. You know, you look back and you look and think, bloody hell, who's that lad there? Yeah, the lightning. But that's the thing, we haven't got anything to look back on because the games were never taped or video or anything like that. So you don't actually know, apart from the age-old, Kevin Mooney telling me how brilliant I was. There's nothing else. Yeah.
Well, I think we've got one of these coming up with Kevin, haven't we, Dan?
We have indeed. We have indeed.
Oh,
yeah.
You better spare about 2 hours.
People keep saying that. Yeah, they say allow a lot of time for this one, so we'll see what it's like. Yeah. So, but anyhow, it's been absolutely fantastic to catch up with you, and the wonders of technology to be able to bring you all the way from New Zealand on this. It's fantastic, and as Dan says, if ever you are coming over, please make sure you come to the ground, and I'm sure Dan will get you in the Legends Lounge to give everybody a little talk. And we do thank you for your time.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Steve Porter. He popped up on a thing, 60 years of age. Always, quality fella. And I do remember back in the day, his little lad was the mascot, and it shocked me because your old nans with him sort of thing. And he had a little Southpaw kit off with number 11 and my name on it, which was a bit, that was way before the names on shirts sort of things. And I thought, what's he doing with that? Favourite player.
That little lad went on to play a game in goal for Southport. I think if it was Dean, anyhow, he played one game for Southport, didn't he, Dan?
He did indeed, yeah.
Oh, nice one. Yeah.
In goal, lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, my lad's a goalie.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it used to be in the back garden, and then I hated going in goal, so we just plenty of shots against him.
Excellent.
He had no choice.
It's fantastic to catch up with you, and do keep in touch, and we'll hopefully see you over here at some point in the future.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Take care.
Cheers.